Chapter 5, Leadership Building. This is a short chapter and a short PowerPoint. The PowerPoint starts off with learning objectives. They're also on page 81. And then the next slide goes right into leadership. So good leaders can reflect on their own behavior and evaluate their personal strengths. Now, that's pretty simple to do. I think maybe we do that at the end of our day. But the hard stuff, like evaluating weaknesses and biases, especially needs and motivations, that takes a little more practice to get that built into your daily routine or effective leader routine. I mean, it really does take, it's easy to celebrate what we've done right, but it does take a lot of practice, discipline to really think about things that we've done wrong and how can we improve them. Leadership has evolved, and the three effective leadership ideas can be organized into categories of power, motivation, and learning, and that is here on your PowerPoint. And in page 82, the book starts out with power. So it discusses theory X compared with theory Y. I don't know about you, but I will take theory Y, work style, leadership style, any day. Theory X is I just wouldn't do well in that environment. It may have worked 60 years ago, but actually it probably did not. So in the middle of that page, it talks about how research has shown that inviting participation, facilitating positive group and employee manager interactions, and giving workers responsibility will improve productivity. That, yes, I can concur with that. Give me positivity, give me space to be creative and participate, and I will be a way better employee. In order for groups to mature, power and authority have to be distributed evenly, where in the beginning of forming a group, you have to have that certain authority or that certain leader to say, okay, let's get going. We got to do this, we got to do that. But as that group matures, especially in healthcare, well, actually in any type of group situation, everybody's going to kind of have their own leadership weighted, distributed equally, if you will. At some point, everybody's going to have to take on that leadership role, because actually everybody who's in a group is a leader, but the weight of being the leader for the group will distribute evenly over time. All right, so next slide is still covering page 82 at the bottom, which refers to power. And we have referent power, legitimate power, expert power, moving over to page 83, coercive power, reward power, and information power. You guys can read about those different types of power. I don't want to read it to you, but it's interesting, the reflection on page 83. Read that, and again, that's just very interesting to think about it. If a CEO, physician, and a sailor were on a ship, what would happen if, the situation shifted, and the example they give, they land on a remote island. So then what happens? Then who's in charge? Read through the chapter. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to go to the next slide. The power of collective, that is very powerful, and distributed leadership. So this is going to be, where's Follett? Oh, page 80. So as you read through 83 towards the bottom, flip over to page 84, and that's what this PowerPoint slide is referring to. So back to page 83 real quick. In the middle I circled, power and status differentials are a fact of life and frequently limit participation of team members who perceive themselves to be a lower status. So where I can apply that to healthcare is if we're having, I don't know, let's just say a staff meeting for the floor, the unit. Hey, we have a budget and we are allowed to spend $1,000, or that's not realistic, $10,000 to improve. I can't even think of something. But anyway, let's just say we're having a staff meeting, 10,000's on the budget. What if they only invited in the group, if it was only the physical therapist or only the nurses or only the doctors to this meeting, and didn't consider the input from everyone who is in the workforce group on that unit, including nursing assistants, janitorial people, even the manager of the unit. So what I'm getting at is the entire group needs to be there, and the janitors, nor the nursing assistants or even the volunteers need to look at themselves as if they are lower status. They are not. They are just as important in a group with a goal or group decision making, etc. So keep that in mind. And maybe I should give you guys some office examples too, which would again it would be very similar to a doctor calling a meeting, whether it's a dentist, a primary care doctor, or surgeon within their medical office, and you would want to include, if a decision is going to be made or a goal is going to be set, you need to include the doctor, you need to include the nursing staff, you need to include the medical office staff, you need to include the assistants. Again, just because someone's at a lower status per certificate or degree does not mean that they're not as valuable within a group. Everybody has value. All right, I found a heart on that, sorry. Page 84, I flipped over to the page, and we definitely want to be inclusive, kind of what I was just saying. The different type of power leverages, it's also mentioned there on the top of page 84. Reflection. Identify. Okay, that's another good reflection to think about. I'm going to keep going because this is an easy read chapter. So motivation, page 85. 3 social motives or needs: achievement, orientation, affiliation, and power. So achievement, I'll just review it a little bit. Orientation describes the drive to attain challenging goals, exceed personal expectation for results. So I immediately think, this is totally not healthcare related, but I immediately think this profile fits people who are on like the television shows, or the like Ninja Warrior, or the folks I see pictures of on social media who run the mud runs, and I can't think of what they're called, but that they are achievement motivated. Affiliation is a motivator. It describes the need for friend or close relationships, so people with high affiliation prefer to work with others and value harmony and collaboration. I could definitely see that in a healthcare setting in different groups. Who doesn't want to work with someone of a higher status? Or maybe you don't. See, that's the thing. That's the cool thing about groups and wouldn't it be neat in a healthcare setting to create a group and not even know people's credentials and see how much you could obtain, what type of goal you could reach with taking that part of it out of there. Anyway, okay. Power motive describes the need to be in charge or strongly influence another person's in group behavior. That definitely happens in healthcare. And I'm not going to give you any examples. It's fine. You guys can read and take from that what you will. At the bottom of page 85, socialized power need is most often associated with effective leadership. These leaders direct their need for power in socially positive ways that benefit others in the organization. They recognize that power must be distributed and shared, that other people need to have power of their own in their work lives. Let me make sure I haven't gotten ahead of myself. Achievement, affiliation, power. Okay, so I didn't flip the slide. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is kind of going back and forth. I'm going to continue reading from the book, the things that I've highlighted. Page 86, McClellan hypothesized that most successful leaders appear to be driven mainly by high achievement orientation in combination with the need to empower others and forge relationships. And that is definitely, the timing of that is actually shocking, 1953, 1987, because still today we talk about how relationships should be at the forefront. Not necessarily in healthcare. I don't see that a lot in healthcare. I see that in other arenas, especially corporately. Healthcare, we really focus on the patients. We do our best to anyway. But it's still about relationships with the patient, so I guess we can apply that to group settings for healthcare. Exclusive use of any one style can lead to unintended negative consequences. That makes sense to me. Have a blended style of power learning and what am I trying to say? Motivation. The third one is motivation. Yes. For leaders to be exceptional and conduct excellent leadership in groups, I think you definitely need to have a blended style, not just one. Bottom of page 86, there's a table, but right above that, I circled the most effective leaders are those who have curiosity and respect for their own and others' needs, motivation, strengths and weaknesses, and preferred modes of learning. All right, I feel like I'm reading to you guys. I don't like to do that, but I've just highlighted some things that I felt. So table 5.1, leadership style summary, that offers you the leadership styles on the left-hand side, and I got caught up with my PowerPoint. So directive, visionary, you can keep reading. Focus is right in the middle, and the purpose is on the right-hand side. So it's good to know the difference between those. I actually have another job where my leadership style would be considered coaching because I mentor students with an online university, and I love that job. Well, of course, I love all my jobs, but that one is great because we have the groups that we build when we onboard these students, and then as they get through the program, and then we even mentor them beyond into their new jobs. So anyway, but leadership style summary, there it is. You're going to hear my dog barking. All right, so learning. Bottom of page 87. Leadership is a developmental process that can be viewed as a lifelong journey. You will learn about leadership for the rest of your life. No one ever grasps it fully as it evolves as we do as a society. So andragogy is the study of adult learning. Pedagogy, side note, is elementary, middle school, high school teaching. But once you become an adult and you enter into college, whether it's community college, private colleges, universities, etc., you enter into the world of andragogy. And it's very different. We do not teach our elementary school students the same as we do our college students, or even high school. High school students are taught very differently than adult learners. So that's what that's discussing. Page 87 flips over to 88. Leaders tend to learn best when learning is self-directed, transformational, and experiential. Yes. That's for adults. That is definitely not for children. But think about it. When you registered for this class, enrolled in this class, you may have brought some prior learnings with you, or you may not have, and that's okay. But when you're self-directed, you have the freedom and the flexibility. Transformational, when the information is given to you, you read it, you self-direct, and you build a lot of discipline, and you learn from that. Learning activities should be interactive. Adults learn best when they can engage in learning and employ the wisdom of past experiences when meeting new challenges. And we'll keep flipping. You can read all about the Kolb learning mode summaries and the model of adult learning. It's right there on page 89. I'm flipping over to 90. So we have the concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract, conceptualization, active experimentation. I'm going to look for a link for us to maybe take this learning assessment and see if it's offered for free. I'll get back to you on that, but it's great information in there. Table 5.3, learning styles are continue there. There's another reflection in the book. And that's it. If you have any questions, of course. Oh, and here's the, what am I trying to say? Model of Kolb's adult learning, the cycle. That's what I was trying to say. And yeah, so read it, short chapter, short PowerPoint, kind of a long video. I didn't mean for it to be this long, but let me know if you have any questions.